ChatGPT, that weird ad you see on Instagram, and all these other artificial intelligence applications are slowly taking over the world. But why am I being somewhat dramatic? Well, you see artificial intelligence everywhere nowadays. AI has been able to make everything just more efficient, easier, and then just more labor-free. People are concerned that it's taking over jobs, and in a way, it might be. Or in a way, it's just making them easier? I don't know. That's a whole other topic. What I'm here to really talk about is how artificial intelligence relates to plagiarism, because it does. And as the Dean of Students Office, people always come to us to ask questions about where we stand with artificial intelligence. And our answer to that? We don't know. You see, the problem here is that artificial intelligence is just innovating fast, like too fast. Faster than how the law really innovates, which is essentially a reason as to why there has still been no significant regulations done with artificial intelligence. At least at the time I'm recording this, the answer is still pretty ambiguous, but there are arguments across both sides as to where artificial intelligence stands in the academic setting. So then let's go ahead and talk about all this artificial intelligence stuff and plagiarism, shall we? Okay, I forgot to mention one very important thing, and I do not want there to be any miscommunication or confusion here, okay? My goal here is to educate you all on how artificial intelligence relates to plagiarism. I am not saying in any way that you should use these products. That's really up to your own discretion and also to how your professor sets up the classroom itself. So I do not want you to go to them and tell them that Armando told you it's okay to use artificial intelligence. Okay? We good? Awesome. Let's keep going. I keep on rambling about artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, but I just noticed that you might not be familiar with what that really is. But ChatGPT is essentially a computer-based program which generates text. So to put it in simple terms, you ask it a question, it'll give you an answer. You can ask it maybe a historical fact, and it'll give you the answer for that. And most of the time, it's pretty accurate, but other times it may not be as accurate. The big problem here is that ChatGPT does not really reference the sources unless you really ask for it. So you kind of know where this is going, right? Let's say a student was given maybe 2 weeks in advance to do a 10-page essay. And then the day before they need to turn in the essay comes and the student is not prepared. What does the student do? Well, the student has now transitioned to using ChatGPT to generate their entire essay hours before it's really due. So now tell me, is that morally correct? Of course not. And if you answered yes, we need to have a conversation. But exactly, that's the problem that comes with artificial intelligence. Students, ever since it was introduced back in 2022, have resorted to using ChatGPT and other text generating applications to essentially write their entire essays, and that's just not morally correct. Turnitin usually detects artificial intelligence, but most of the time it's also inaccurate. So what does that do? It just creates more problems. Staff and faculty now have trust issues with students submitting their work because they do not know whether they use artificial intelligence or not. And maybe the student in fact did use artificial intelligence, but sometimes they really don't and they still get in trouble for that. You see, another thing that's really worth noting is the way ChatGPT works. So essentially the way it's currently working is that people feed it information, as well as the people who develop the program. They feed it more information for it to grow smarter, but that's just more plagiarism. Why? Well, think about it. It's getting information from all over the place, and it's just putting it out as its own information without giving any references. People don't know if artificial intelligence will be regulated as of yet, but at least at the time of recording this, they're still trying to figure that out. And even other universities have also provided their stance on artificial intelligence. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying artificial intelligence is bad as a whole. There are some good things that artificial intelligence does for the educational industry. So artificial intelligence is not just a tool to help students be lazy with their work, but it also provides them with another resource for them, an educational resource. And there's even a couple of faculty members within here in the university that advocate for artificial intelligence because it's another tool that'll basically help students benefit from their learning. So now you're probably asking yourself, Armando, what should I do regarding this, right? What's your advice to us as students? Well, my main advice would be to really consult your professor's syllabus. And this is because professors do have authority over their own classroom and the rules they want to establish. So maybe a professor may be all in on artificial intelligence and they believe it's a great resource to help students. And as a result, they may put it on the syllabus and they'll tell you what is allowed and what is not allowed. Whereas a professor who may not really be advocating for artificial intelligence will make it very clear that they do not want it in their class. And even if the answer is still a little bit ambiguous, you can always reach out to them directly and ask. And if that's still ambiguous to you, I would recommend maybe not using artificial intelligence for your assignments because, I like to think that it's better to be safe than sorry. And by sorry, I mean that you may commit another academic integrity infraction, which means that you'll be able to see this beautiful face again. But anyhow, that's just how artificial intelligence relates to plagiarism. As I mentioned, always reach out to your instructor first to see if these tools are allowed to be used in the classroom and used for projects, group assignments, tests, or anything that really relates to the classroom, right? I also want to make clear again that I do not speak on behalf of the University of Arizona. The answers are still pretty ambiguous as to where the institution stands on artificial intelligence, at least at the time I'm recording this. But because of that, I'll go ahead and link a website here that you can see on screen right now. It'll go ahead and send you over to how the university is approaching artificial intelligence, and it's continuously updating and evolving. So make sure to take a look to familiarize yourself with the policy thus far. But yeah, overall, this concludes this little section on artificial intelligence and plagiarism. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to our office. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video.